The following podcast is a deep, shallow dive production.
And you're gonna love it.
Okay, let's go.
I will definitely tell you that you are my first guest that has run for government office and has an OnlyFans at the same time. And so that is super interesting, and you are super interesting. All right, listen, everybody, we have a really, really unique guest today that I'm excited to talk a variety of topics with. And this is Marisa Simonetti. And I got connected with Marisa through a mutual friend. And ironically, we both know another person named Royce White, who is a very, very, in my opinion, just a real polarizing and great voice that needs to get added into the discussion. But today, Marisa is going to take us through a variety of things. And so, first of all, welcome. And I think let's start off with probably the most important thing that I want to talk to you about. And that is that you ran for local government office. And I think what's really cool is when normal people like myself even think about running for any type of political office, it's probably overwhelming. And we're like, oh my God, I can't do that. But we can, and you can, and you did. So anyway, let's start off there.
Yeah. So I think anybody who has any interest in politics or really making a difference in the community should realize that it's not as difficult or expensive as one might think to run a successful campaign. My background, I'm a single mom and I have some business experience. So I just felt prompted like I was supposed to jump in. I didn't even know at the time quite what the position did. I just said, you know, when your heart tells you this is the direction you're supposed to go, and you start to realize that you need to go. So I went down and I filed, and people kind of took my hand along the way. But there are some core things that anyone could do and repeat if they want to make a difference in the community, but don't necessarily, you know, have a long-standing affiliation with any sort of political party.
Okay, great. Well, what did you run for? What position?
Yeah, so I ran for a local county board position here in Minneapolis.
Okay,
it was
okay.
more spicy than I expected it to be.
And like that county board position, what's the job description of that? What does that even do?
Yeah, so Hennepin County Commissioner, it's primarily a part-time administrative position, and they fund the criminal justice system, the sheriff's department, county corrections, libraries. So it's more simple, more budgeting than anything else. But as everyone's feeling, you know, the budgets is one of the most important things, kind of pain points that people have, especially recently and throughout the entire campaign.
Got it. Okay, so talk us through that. So how did that even start? Do you file online? Do you log into a website and say, I want to run for county commissioner, and then you just submit an application? Or do you have to get what the hell do you even do? Step one.
Yep. So you look online, you see what positions are available. I think it's the Secretary of State website. And then there's a form that you will fill out, and it'll have the address where you need to go. You go down, you pay the filing fee. When I went down there, I had just come from a tennis lesson. I was in my little tennis skirt, tennis sneakers, hoodie. I was like, nah, this just fits my schedule.
That's
so I
hilarious.
I didn't quite know I was supposed to go in the government building. And I go to the info center and I said, hey, you know, I'm here to, you know, send in my application for Hennepin County board, my whatever. And she looks at me and she goes, honey, I think HR is on the third floor.
That's
thought
hilarious.
It was a joke.
Yeah.
But you go and you pay the filing fee. And after that, I was like, man, I don't even know what happens next. Like, what do you do next? So I messaged a friend who I was running for state rep. And I said, I lost a bet. I filed for public office. What do I do? And my friend took me to a local conservative meeting and introduced me to a bunch of people. And then it was just off to the races.
Okay. And so you have to run as a Republican or a Democrat? Do you have to pick a party?
So this particular county commissioner is a nonpartisan position, but as you know, everything's partisan in one way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
So yeah, I grew up more conservative, and that was the connections that I had. So I got connected with the Republican Party and just followed that track, spoke at the events, and I think people should realize, you don't have to be a perfect person, have a perfect history. What you need is to have courage and just be willing to like put yourself out there and have maybe feel a little scared or uncertain, and that's okay.
No, and I think that's amazing because I think right now, when it comes to politics, things have changed and people have woken up to the fact that, hey, the people that are in these positions, it's not like God placed them into the position. They just happen to, first of all, want to do it. And then second of all, go through the process and get there. But they're no smarter than any of us. They're not better thinkers than any of us. They're not even better equipped to make the decisions. And quite frankly, if the past 4 years have told us anything, and then this is not to bash the Democrat side, but the past 4 years have told us that fundamentally, it's not the best decision that's getting made at all times. So what I love about what you did was you were like, you know what? Screw it. I don't care if I don't have a background in politics. I want to make a difference. I want to get involved on a local level in my community, which I think is incredible. And so you did it. So that's amazing. How much was the filing fee?
Filing fee was $50. So
Wow,
it's
okay.
it's so achievable. It's not, I think many things seem so esoteric and difficult and you have to, but really what you just need for someone who wants to do it and cares about the community and wants to make a difference is just little steps, little points in the right direction along the way. And if you can get that and you have some ability to problem solve, and if your heart's in it and if you care,
Yeah,
well, you can make a difference.
absolutely. Absolutely. I will tell you probably the best example is, look at Vivek Ramaswamy. Here's a guy that literally a year ago, nobody knew who this guy was. He was again, he was a successful entrepreneur, but there's a million successful entrepreneurs. Literally nobody knew who this guy was. And so he throws his hat in the ring, runs on the Republican ticket. And, here we are, gosh, a year later or 15 months later, and the dude is on a first name basis. Like you say Vivek, everybody knows who you're talking about. And, he's got Oprah status after a year. And again, I used him as an example when I talk to people because I'm like, look at this guy. Like he came out of nowhere and within 1 year, he is in the zeitgeist of everyone's discussions. And so anyway, I think it's amazing. All right, tell us now. So you get signed up, you call your friend, then what? Are you going on Instagram? Are you going on Facebook? Are you using Twitter? How are you getting your candidacy out there?
Yeah, so there are things called SD, Senate District Conventions.
Okay.
And there, in my section of the county, there were 4 different Senate District Conventions where you go and you get up in front of everybody and you speak. And these are
Oh, wow.
people who are, they really care. It's like a whole weekend event and they're plugged in and they care. And because mine was a special election, the people who are going to be showing up to the SD conventions are the people who care. So for someone who wants to run, look in your area. For me, it's Hennepin County. Hennepin County, find out what your SDs are. And you can kind of reverse engineer. They'll have events on there and you'll see where you need to go, or even just an email send, a point of contact. And just take that first step. And if you come out of nowhere, people will be like, you're a plant. It's a plant.
That's funny.
But it's kind of the fun of it.
Okay. Okay. And you said the position you ran for was nonpartisan. And so this SD that you're talking about, is there a Republican SD, a Democrat SD, or it's one SD?
Yeah. So both Republican and Democrat have their own Senate district conventions.
Okay.
And each one has their own thing. You kind of got to pick a track because there's limited time and there is overlap. But there were 6 candidates in the race that I ran for the special election. And the one lady she came, right? Everybody knew she was Democrat, had Democrat values, but she came and spoke. And I give her actually a lot of credit for just putting herself out there because you miss all the shots that you don't take. So
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it. All right. Let me ask you this question. So you kind of align yourself with the Republican side, you go to the SD. So does the party help you? Like, is there resources that they give you, or you're kind of on your own in terms of really, really making your candidacy known?
Yeah, this has been a complaint that not just I have had, but other people throughout Minnesota and even people that I've connected with in other states of not feeling support from the Republican Party. And there's a variety of reasons people could point to for that. But I would say if someone wants to run, they need to take it upon themselves to figure things out, have the good data for the people, and not rely on any party. You kind of got to do it yourself. And there are resources that if that people can connect with to supplement that, like nonprofits who will help people with that.
Okay, got it, got it. Okay, so talk us through a little bit of that. Like what platforms really did you start to leverage? Was it Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, something we don't know about? What did you start to use to market yourself?
Yeah, so I my experience with social media before that was primarily on Twitter, where I had built up my audience in another niche. And so that's where I started, but also recognizing just for continuity's sake, you need to be on all of them. So there are apps like, I'm not sponsored by anybody, but I use Later Social, and you upload, I think it's $25 a month. You put everything in one place, and then it schedules the posts, and it puts them on all platforms at the same time. So if you had to pay an assistant to do something like that, it would be more than $25 a month. So kind of finding ways, especially if you take things upon yourself as a candidate, that you're not getting that much support or funding, you got to be really resourceful and efficient. And I'm a single mom, and that's what we do best.
Yeah.
We're resourceful and efficient.
Yeah, you guys absolutely are. Okay, I got it. And I've used Later, that platform as well. And it's a great platform for doing kind of exactly what you said. You can connect all your socials, and whether you're running for office or whether you're running a small business or whatever you're doing, you basically can use it as a way to, basically plan out a social posting calendar and then in one place get it to send out everywhere. Okay, I got it. That sounds good.
What do you think of Twitter? I have a huge crush on Elon Musk. And since he bought it for, what was it, 44 million, billion?
Billion.
I've been like, billion. I'm crushing Elon Musk.
All right. I'll give you my honest opinion on Elon Musk. And for those people that have listened to this podcast, they'll kind of know this. I mean, again, I have the utmost respect for him as an entrepreneur. How could you not? The guy is running 3 multi-billion-dollar companies seemingly simultaneously. So there's a tremendous respect for me as an entrepreneur to him for that. His purchase of Twitter, again, that absolutely brought the free speech element back, because I got banned off of Twitter and I didn't even post anything. I literally barely posted. And I think I had posted like one thing that talked about a vaccine study, and I wasn't even critiquing it. I was just saying, this is an interesting study, would love to get people's thoughts, and I got banned off of it permanently, and I haven't been able to get my profile back. So that's the good side of Elon Musk. Now, I will say, I do think this recent Elon giving his 2 cents about everything politically, it's a little bit odd to me. And, I will say this too. If I right now put my hand to my heart and shoved it in the air forcefully, it's a little bit odd. We don't have to get into whether there was a meaning to that or there wasn't. But again, I like the guy, but I also I'm very, I guess, what's the best way to put it? I'm aware of people's actions, and sometimes when it's just a little too much too fast, the way he's kind of inserted himself politically in the United States, in England, in Germany, all these places, you kind of have to be like, okay, wait a minute, what the heck is going on? So anyway.
Do you feel that same way about Grant Cardone? He really inserted himself, and I have some theories why that might be, but he was very vocal this election. And I like Grant Cardone and, a lot of things he says, but it was curious to me.
Yeah, I mean, Grant Cardone to me is kind of like a Mark Cuban who asserted himself into this on the Democrat side. Grant obviously inserted himself on the Republican side. I don't view Grant with the reach that Elon has, or obviously the resources. He's a tremendously successful entrepreneur as well. So I look at a guy like Grant Cardone and, to be honest, I think he just did not like the direction the country was taking and was like, hey, I've got a platform, and so I'm going to talk about it. His, I don't think, had any real ulterior motive. Now, I'll be very honest with Elon. I don't know if there's an ulterior motive there, or I don't know if what he's doing is a part of something bigger and potentially nefarious. I don't think that's the case with Grant, but with Elon, like I said, it's just weird. It's just weird. It's a little too much, too many places for me with him. And I don't feel that way about Grant, but I'd love your thoughts on both, actually.
Always kind of like Elon Musk. I mean, it seems to me that he does things for the sheer joy of creating things. And, at a certain point, it's like, what are you going to do next? And so for me, this seems like his next thing.
Yeah.
And maybe kind of similar with Grant Cardone as well. Like when you get to a certain level, it's like, what's next? Although with Grant Cardone, there's been some like concerns and lawsuits against his company that have really been suppressed and that have gone up, levels. And when you pick a side, especially the winning side, things tend to go away or that sort of thing. And, that's just human nature. Anybody wants to be on the winning side. So I think there was one movie, the quote was, the difference between treason and patriotism is just a matter of dates.
That's a good quote.
That's a good quote. Pick the right side.
Grant Cardone came out, I think it was last week, with the whole California wildfires that's happened. And he put out a video where I think he is initiating a lawsuit either against Gavin Newsom or against the state of California or against maybe even Los Angeles County. I'm not sure if his home in the Palisades was affected or not. But, again, he became very boisterous about it. But to me, I was like, okay, you know what? I'm good with this because here's a guy basically talking common sense. For me, it really all comes down to that. Like anybody, Democrat or Republican for that matter, if you're speaking common sense and if you're talking something that like just flat out makes sense, I'm down to listen to that for sure. So anyway, all right, good stuff. I will say this last thing on Elon. I did find it weird that him and Vivek Ramaswamy launched this big, Doge Department for Government Efficiency. And then, a week later, Vivek resigns from it. So the scuttlebutt about that is that Elon and him did not get along personality wise. And he kind of pushed Vivek out of that, which to me is a shame because I did like the balance between those two guys. So, again, who knows? Who knows?
Yeah, it's hard to know anything anymore half the time.
It is. But I will tell you, people are engaged. People are engaged. I mean, people are no longer. And again, you're a perfect example. You might not have ran and put your hat in the ring 5 years ago, 8 years ago, 10 years ago, because life was normal. Life after March 3rd, 2020, and anybody that's listened to me knows I believe COVID was the beginning of, the world 2.0 and really craziness, but things have changed. And now because of social media, because of podcasts, because of all this, people are like, wait a minute, you know what? I'm going to give my 2 cents on this. And I love the fact that you were like, you took that one step further and you're like, okay, you know what? I'm going to run for this position because I think I can do a better job. So what happened? Did you end up, I don't think you won, but I think you did well. Tell us kind of what happened with that.
So there were 2 parts. The first part was the special election. There were 6 candidates. So there was a primary. Of those 6, nobody expected this yo-ho Marisa Simonetti to even do anything. But I'm always doing things quietly in the background to just like try things that are outside the box, to get your name out there, to put yourself out there. And so I made top 2 with less than $750.
That's amazing.
Everyone was shocked. And I beat a guy who spent $71,000 or $72,000 on the campaign, who had political experience. And so that's when I realized, actually this conservative message really does resonate with a lot of people. And so I got excited to stick with it. So it was me versus a former state legislature lady. And we had 2 weeks to seal the deal in the special election. And that's where I noticed the support from the Republican, after I did well, the support from the party fell off, where it should have been supplementing with like, okay, we're this close because I was within such a close margin on a special election where you have only maybe 10% of people turn out. You got to be making calls. You got to be sending texts and doing everything, because this is your opportunity for an easy layup if you're willing to put some effort in. And that did not happen. I was totally kind of left on my own. And in fact, somebody was going around telling people to take down my campaign signs from the Republican Party. Yes.
Wow. All right. Well, what's that about? That's crazy.
Right. So I saw those things, and then I, confronted this person because he is running the whole area, not just the SDs, but higher level, and just got a bunch of lame excuses that if you have a problem with me, come and talk to me, right? And we'll figure it out, right? Like, oh, you're supposed to you need to have a campaign manager. Well, who's going to pay for it? Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, okay, if that's your problem, why I'm not receiving support, then let's problem solve it. Well, then if it's not this, it's this. It's this. Well, just tell me. Like, I don't know anything, and I don't know anything. So do you want to win, or do you want to waste my time? So then I wound up only losing by 1,000 votes. And I hate losing. Like, I love to win, but like, I hate losing. So I took that next kind of couple weeks to really think through, regardless of what anybody else does, if I run again in November, because the special election was just to fill the vacancy till the end of 2024, what is it going to take? And am I willing to put in that effort? And my answer wound up being yes. And so I ran again.
Wow. Okay. By the way, so a special election is something that happens when, like, I don't know, did the previous person that was in that job move on to something else, or did they die, or that's what happens, and then they call a special election?
His soul died.
His soul.
Politics.
I can
he
see
committed
that.
Harry Carey.
I can see that. That I can totally see.
He's like, I'm out.
Okay. So you ran twice. You ran in the special election, and then you're saying there was another, I guess, the general election in November, similar to when the presidency.
Yeah, I was on the same ballot. Yep.
Okay. And then you took second in both, or what did you place in the general one in November?
So in the general one, of those 6 people, nobody else signed up to run again. It was just me and the same lady who took top 2.
Okay.
So it was me versus her, and that was then things. I had some personal issues.
Okay. All right.
Throughout.
And she was a Democrat, right? She was representing the Democratic district, so to speak, or SD. You were representing the Republic. Okay. Hey, listen, the fact that you got through the 6 and ended up being, going one-on-one against somebody that obviously sounds like maybe had more experience or whatever, that's still amazing. And by the way, Minnesota's a predominantly Democratic state in general, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And especially my district is very blue, and I'm more socially liberal.
Okay.
But some of these things, is just very difficult to. Well, I think if you have any sort of conservative ticket, one thing that's a pattern is anything in your background or past, you're just going to be painted as the black sheep and bad child, and just expect that from the media. So anybody who wants to run needs to shore up those points of vulnerability, like well before they file, so that so they don't waste their time.
Okay. Shore up the points of vulnerability from things you've done in the past, you're saying. The dirt that people will go after.
Yeah,
okay.
We all have our little naughty side.
Of course we do.
And if there's nothing, like, those people probably have the most naughty sides. They just didn't get caught yet.
Okay.
So,
all right.
I'm a little naughty, and I got a little caught up.
All right. This could not have been a better segue. And the fact that you said I'm socially liberal, that was like the perfect caveat segue into what I want to talk about next. And by the way, that was awesome. I actually, you're the first person that I've brought on that's run for a public office. And I think it's cool for people to understand that at the end of the day, to kind of summarize this section of our discussion, hey, if you want to get involved, get involved. Start at a county level, see what's available. And remember, the people that are in these positions are no different than you and I. They just happen to decide they want to do it and be a part of the solution. And so they did it. So everybody and anybody listening, if you decide you want to make it happen, hit me up and I'll connect you with Marisa and can give you some pointers. But anyway, all right, that's awesome. All right, now let's move on to the social liberal next aspect. And you're the first person I've brought on my podcast that has an OnlyFans. So I want to keep this more educational about OnlyFans. And so why don't you start off by telling us what that is for the people that might not even know what the hell OnlyFans is?
So OnlyFans is a paid platform where you have subscribers for, I'd say about 70% of stuff that I create is more just cute and fun and playful. But then there's that, 30% that gets a little spicy.
I like it. I like it. A little
It's a little
zesty.
spicy. Yeah.
Okay. All right. And so basically, I mean, it's a huge platform now, and some people are making, ridiculous money. I remember a couple of weeks ago, there was I think she's like maybe a Christian oriented girl that supposedly made like $67 million in 1 year or 2 years. I know like celebrities like maybe Black China and a few others are again making 40-50 million a year. So it's a paid platform. People sign up. What is it, like $4.99 a month or $19.99 a month? How much are subscriptions, or can you set the price?
So the creator sets their subscription. You can do like discounts and packages for longer term things. And then within that, for if you want something, see a little more.
Okay. Like one-on-one, you're saying? Like can individual subscribers say, hey, I'd like a one-on-one session or something along those lines?
So I do custom videos. I had a very spicy custom video, especially recently. Like those are really fun. Like that
Okay.
people send a message and they're like, I want to see you do like X, Y, and Z. Like, tell me you want me to have your babies.
That's wild. Okay. Okay. All right. That's interesting. Well,
So
is it an app? Are people mainly doing it via their phone or via their browser on their laptop, or a little bit of both?
So the App Store does not allow adult content creation apps, but you can log in through your browser on your phone, and there's like chats, right? So people who also like want to chat with me and get to know me as well. And I will come on there and go live. Actually, before this, I went live for about 15 minutes, just saying hi, and a bunch of people hopped on and they can tip you. And it's just a good way to like build a like relationship with people. It's fun. I have fun.
No, that's amazing. That's amazing. And then like, what does it look like infrastructure wise? Does it kind of resemble Facebook? Does it kind of resemble Instagram, TikTok? What does it look like? YouTube? I mean, anything that people can like get a visual of what the layout is like?
Yeah. Okay. So there's just like a feed where I'll post like stuff daily, just cute little fun videos, photos. And then there's a chat section. Yeah. It's very simple and easy to use.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then is it more photos or videos? What do people resonate toward?
Well, the spicy stuff that I make is mostly video.
Okay.
So it's like a lot, like it's like if you have a girlfriend.
Okay.
And you just have like everybody's just feeling some type of way someday, and you want to have like a live video exchange.
Okay. All right. Very fair. All right. Let me use that as a jump off to kind of a bigger question. And I'm asking this because I've seen some of the things not on your OnlyFans, but on your Twitter that you've talked about. And, you've really talked a lot about, I guess, the breakdown in relationships between men and women these days. And I see it as well. Like, I think coming out of COVID, it's a very dysfunctional dating environment for people, and people are their guard is up. So a lot of the apps like Bumble and Hinge and Match.com or all of that stuff, I see a lot of people leaving those platforms because they're just a big time suck and they're a big waste of time. Overall, and especially with the experience you have with the OnlyFans, like people are lonely, right? Like what are you seeing, and what's the, I guess, the core bigger picture of what you feel like society's at now in terms of personal relationships?
You know, one thing that I find super meaningful actually about OnlyFans is people want it's fair to say men want a beautiful woman. And so to get to engage and experience with me is almost like, because people are so tentative and not sure, it helps them kind of tune into that same energy of how does a beautiful woman want to be treated, and that kind of experience. So in some ways, it's almost like a tutorial for like, test out, right, I have a stage name, Jenny Kennedy. You test things out with Jenny, you message, you get to chat, you see what that's like, and then they go out in the real world and have the opportunity, because they've experienced, right? Kind of once you touch and experience something, then you can channel kind of that same level of woman.
I love
And
that. I love that. So
yeah,
Jenny Kennedy is your OnlyFans. Your OnlyFans, obviously, is it Marisa Simonetti?
yeah, I've always had a stage name, and that's where I learned my Twitter skills. I had a large Twitter audience as Jenny Kennedy before, and that got put in the media, and that's what gave my campaign the trouble. Otherwise, I would have been just fine.
I
Yeah.
see what you're saying. Okay,
So
so somebody connected Jenny Kennedy to Marisa Simonetti, and then that kind of became the dirt, which I don't even really consider it dirt, but that's what they used to kind of go at your campaign. How great.
yeah, there was that and another thing. And then people will always like take things to the extreme level of like accusation that they could take just for the sake of like a clickbait or a sensation. So it just, especially if you're a woman, like you're gonna be sniped. I don't like my OnlyFans. It's not
Yeah.
like a porn star. I'm Catholic. It's just me, right? It's just all solo videos. I don't film with men, like none of that. So it's very different than like, I'm not a porn star. I'm like your cute, fun little girlfriend who you get to message.
Okay,
And I'm a
okay.
single mom. Yeah. So it's
I
different,
get that.
different energy.
I get that. You know what you were saying earlier, actually, it's kind of like you're almost playing the role of Hitch a little bit. You're like playing the Hitch matchmaker, or maybe helping guys that are, subscribing to your OnlyFans. I don't know, be comfortable learning what to say to women. Hey, listen, I'm all for that. I think that's actually a
Yeah.
cool application of it. I think on the surface, when people hear OnlyFans, the immediate impression is something like just scandalous beyond belief. But I think it's very interesting that you're sharing that there's so much more potentially to the relationship that's built between you and your subscribers. And at the end of the day, whether it's OnlyFans, whether it's YouTube, whether it's Facebook, whether it's a podcast, whatever, the bottom line is I think people are seeking out authenticity these days, and they're tired of having to get their news, information, opinions from the same old mainstream media, which quite frankly has just proved over the past 4 to 5 years that they're full of shit. They're full of shit, and they're leading people down the paths that they want to lead you down. So anyway, I applaud you for that. All right, let's talk
Yeah.
about what's next for Marisa Simonetti. Are you going to stick in the political, I guess, path?
Yes. So the next filing actually is coming up here in May. So I will be filing the end of May. I have the date picked on my calendar, believe, and
Love
I
it.
have some ideas in my mind, and I'm going to be on the ballot again because yeah, I think there's real work that needs to be done in the community. And just because for anyone who has anything in their past, whether it's OnlyFans or a challenging relationship or a DUI or anything, these things do not exclude you from caring about the community. And in fact, they can be a reason why you are qualified to make a difference. So yeah, I'm going to be running again, and
I
we're going to
love
see
that.
what
I
shows
love
up.
that. And you know what? I love everything you just said in terms of, there's nothing from your past that disqualifies you in order to make a difference into the future. And, it's funny, there was Stephen A. Smith, the commentator, the black sports commentator. I don't know if you follow him or like him or not, but he said something really interesting the other day where he was like, at the end of the day, the American people looked at everything they said Donald Trump did, whether it's the 34 felonies or this or that or whatever, all that stuff. And they still said that feels more normal than what this side is telling me. And that's pretty amazing, actually. Like the fact that people are kind of seeing through things and deciding that, okay, what is it that feels more normal to me? And so I think you're a testament to that as well. And I will look forward to bringing you back on after you win. You'll be the county commissioner. You're running for that again?
So no, it'll be for something else. There's different
Nice.
things that are available, and you guys will see. I
All
haven't
right,
played
all
on my
right.
mind, but I'm not telling you yet.
All right, perfect. Then we'll bring you back either to support the run up, or we'll bring you back to kind of talk about the congratulatory victory. But anyway, listen, I totally appreciate it. This has been super insightful in so many ways, and I'm gonna let you have the last word, and you can tell people where to follow you, where they can support you, and all that. But I wanted to really thank you for honestly like bringing two such different topics together that I've never talked about on this show. And the most important takeaway for me is that you're somebody that you're not just sitting there talking the talk, you're walking the walk, and on both sides. So anyway, I really just wanted to say thank you, and I appreciate the honesty and the candor. And I'll let you have the last word. Tell us where they can find you and anything else you want to end with.
Yeah, thanks, Ray. You guys can find me. Just search my name, Marisa Simonetti, on any social media platform. Kind of like you were saying, it's being real, being yourself and authentic, and don't shy away from the parts of you that are different or maybe people might criticize or judge, because the right people will step forward and support and care, and you will find your people by being yourself. And that's true belonging versus fitting in. So regardless of any outcome on a ballot date, a real win is when you can find those people in that community where you really belong. So yeah, anybody who wants to run for political office can send me a message, and those practical resources like data and things that are key to really winning and will have a high impact, I'll send you the resources and connect anybody with that. So this has been fun, and I look forward to seeing people who care about their community jumping in and taking action.
Absolutely. I love it. All right, stay on the line. All right, everybody. I will also link all of Marisa's info into the show notes for this, but at the end of the day, the biggest takeaway is get off your ass and do something if you want to do it. So, all right, hang on, and we'll talk to everybody soon.
This episode was brought to you by the new book, Deep Shallow Dive Into You, available now on Amazon and Barnes & Noble in hardcover and paperback. Don't forget to sign up for our new mailing list on our website at deepshallowdive.com.